Now, the rest of the story.
It's a dirty job, but someone's gotta do it. It's really not that bad, as long as you got an enclosed cab. I mean, if you had to do this with the open station, or even the 4020 with the perfectly sealed cab on that, your nose would probably be pretty black by the time you got home. But this is more of a sprint than a marathon when it comes to trying to get some of our fodder made. And let's go ahead and address it right now. I'm chopping corn stalks, right? So I haven't posted anything about harvesting corn yet. The home farm is done. We just got that finished. It's 10 to 5. That was 1:30 when we got that done. And I did try filming. I tried 4 separate times, and none of the video that I did just didn't turn out. So we fast forward a little bit. But all we got done is the home farm. They're not calling for rain until Monday. And this stuff is a little green yet. I mean, the stalks were very healthy even while we were harvesting it, but it was coming out at 20%. It was bouncing between 19 and 20%, which we're good with. Anything under 20 is pretty much grounds for dropping in and running. I mean, you get too much north of that, especially with the dryer bin with the stirrator in it. The stirrator just revolts. I just spent 45 minutes, well, probably a little bit more than that, over a couple of times going in and shoveling corn and moving it back out and spraying it out. And finally realized that on the top of the augers and the stirrator, there's 3 of them. I was going to do a video, but I figured somebody would have been upset if I would have filmed what I was doing. And there's these paddles on top of the auger, so that the auger is bringing corn up. It's hitting these just flat sheet of steel, and it's throwing the corn away from the auger. It helps distribute the corn a little bit better. Well, one of those paddles, it's a U-bolt. That's all that holds it on. Matter of fact, I can probably show you. Maybe. See, when you got young kids, you walk around with suckers in your pockets to kind of help cool them down, right? I bet I threw it out. No, wait. I think I just cut my finger on it. Are you really a farmer if your pocket isn't just full of random stuff? Oh, I've got some corn. There it is. There's part of it. So this used to be a U-bolt. Yeah, that rubbed through on the auger shaft. I'm grateful I caught it. Extremely grateful that I caught it. Because if that would have dropped down into the bin, into the corn, that could have made a lot of clanging and banging and potentially stopped the grain from flowing out. We're trying to empty that bin out. So I ended up putting a farmer patch on it, which I must say that when it comes to farmer patches, it's usually better than what they sent out from the manufacturer. Because I fired the stirrator up and it was finally able to run around. Because what happens is, if that paddle's not working for how full the bin is, the auger is pulling the grain up and then it's pushing up on the arm of the stirrator itself, and then it just sits. It won't progress, and the augers just keep turning, and then you get a massive mound of corn just bubble up and build up around each of those augers. And it did that twice before I caught that, because the paddle wasn't so loose that it wouldn't turn, but it was loose enough that if any real amount of corn was pushing on it, it would stop, which hence why that U-bolt looks like that. But when I would go and shovel it out, to where it was clear in the 10-15 minutes I was sitting up there and watching it, it wasn't doing it. So it's one of those things where it just gradually, and then just completely throws you out. But the bin is full. We filled the grain bin off of all the corn that's at the home farm, so we're grateful for that. I could tell you what it's yielding, but it wouldn't do me any good. I've told people what our yields are, and they kind of really don't believe us. But once again, when it comes to a farmer and what his yields are doing, you might as well compare it to asking a guy what he's got hanging between his legs, because you're not going to get an honest answer, and chances are they're going to exaggerate. So, not exaggerating, we were well within the 200 range, 200 bushel to the acre range, which is great. We end up having to ship 1 load of corn out to get this farm done. But then I was able to get the last of the grain that was on the gravity wagon in. We'll dry it down, transfer it over, and ideally we'll have all of our bins full, which the 2 big ones, and then we'll put in 1,000 or 1,500 or whatever it'll take, whatever that 10,000 crippled bin will hold reasonably, and we'll be able to ship the rest of my parents' grain down the driveway, which is what ideally you'd want. I mean, it'd really be unfortunate if you don't have any grain to ship out, because it takes everything you got to fill the bins. So the reason I want to go through and get all this ground up immediately so it has a chance to dry, because I want to get a bunch baled before it gets rained on, because then it'll start to rot, because they're calling for 60s this weekend, and I'm looking for about 100, 125, a minimum of 100. We'll just say that. I'm looking for at least 100. Anything north of that is perfectly fine. I'm only cutting XYZ number of acres. I just started strip 4 of 5, and if I can get at least 100, 125, 150, I don't think I'll get for what I'm cutting. The plan is we're going to wrap about 50 of them up along this field road. I'm going to stack that red barn full, which I can get like 25 to 30 in there. Then I'll stack the rest outside. I am going to stack some like on top of each other as kind of as a windbreak for my cows in the cow lot, if we do get any nasty, cold, windy days like we had last year, because they're calling for year 3 of La Nina, which typically means not much for snowy, but bitterly cold winters for us. And by going through and wrapping at least 50 or 60 bales, whatever it is, that'll be the last stuff that I attack to try to feed out. My intentions are I'll feed out everything that is outside and exposed to the elements first. Then I'll feed the stuff that's sitting inside the shed, because once we get that fed out, then I'll go through and actually probably cut open that line of wrapped fodder, and then I'll stack it inside to try to keep the quality up on it as long as I can. I could potentially maybe leave it on that field road into next summer. I don't want to. It's going to be in the way for doing tillage, planting, and on top of that, that is a nice, well-established field road. I don't want to see it all tore up, so get all the bales picked up and hauled off of it before the ground thaws out. And the reason I want as many fodder bales around here, even though I got 25 head of cows, is because it does supplement my feed. I do, even years past, to keep feeding fodder clear into the summer to get the stuff used up. But the thing is, yeah, you're using it up, but the cows actually do really well on it, especially if I'm giving them a bale of hay, a bale of fodder, and then I kind of low-key graze them on this pasture up here, because for the amount of cows I got, if I didn't lock them out for a couple weeks at a time, they would graze it down to dirt. I don't want to see that either. So we'll be going through, we'll rake it, bale it with the 569, the 566. It's got a roller chain on it that needs to be replaced. Having really bad luck with roller chains. That thing was brand new. We ran that chain the last day down at the valley for the last 30 acres, and that roller chain got incredibly hot. Not a little hot, not kind of hot, not lukewarm. That thing got blistery hot, where if you would have touched it, you would have messed yourself up. And it's, I don't know, I'm gonna go in the camp of saying it's quality issues. The quality of chain that's getting produced here lately that's available has just not been acceptable. And that thing, that was actually from Deere. And I was told that those were the high-end chains. So if those are what the high-end chains are doing, it explains why the low-end chains didn't even make it a half a day doing first crop. Oh well. This is only going to be part 1 of 3 for doing the fodder, because the stuff we're making right now is ideally meant for the cows here. We can transfer it wherever we need to if we need to shuffle some of the bales around to where it's needed. But because we don't have any down corn this year, no wind damaged corn, that is why we were primarily making all of our fodder here. We were trying to pick up as many of those ears as possible. Well, it seems how we don't have that issue. We're gonna spread it out between each of the 3 farms and save the roading on having all that feed. So, with that, guys, I gotta get this video edited and uploaded for tomorrow night, and I can't make this too long. But you'll see, we gotta make some hay, and I gotta get the combine ready, and it'll be about the 1st of November before we really get kicked off harvesting. I'm hoping we can get that bin dried down and transferred, and then get it refilled before the end of the month, which we got just under 2 weeks to do that yet, which I think is very doable. And it's currently drying now. Alright guys, thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more farming videos. I am currently planning on posting clear up till December, and I'm probably going to take a small month or 2 or whatever hiatus, whatever ends up being, or if I post a random video here or there. It just depends on how busy we are. My thing is we're trying to have everything pretty well buttoned up and done and put away by December 1st, because we got family things to attend to, and I don't want to have to be trying to deal with that and then trying to finish up farming, field work. So we'll be having cattle feed and hauling manure all winter, but alright. That's it for this video, guys. I'll catch you later.